last year, Texas and Washington met in the Alamo Bowl, which resulted in a 27-20 victory for the Huskies. Little did we know that just a little over a year later, the Longhorns and the Huskies would meet again, but this time in a much bigger bowl, the Sugar Bowl, for a spot in the national championship. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to break down the second college football playoff semifinal game between number 3 Texas, champions of the Big 12, and undefeated Washington, number 2 champions of the Pac-12, winner going to the national title to face either Michigan or Alabama. And this game is going to be an instant classic. So again, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad you could join us. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks, that holiday special there for you guys, giving you the spread picks for every college football bowl game. There's still plenty of games left to be played as well. We're giving you every NFL playoff game spread pick too. So one of the lowest price in the country, some of the best picks in the country, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. We want you to go check them out, sign up today, and win big with us today as a member of our GE Nation. Again, the link for that down in the description below. So guys, this is going to be phenomenal. Both playoff semifinal games are going to be fantastic. I genuinely believe that. And Texas and Washington has an opportunity. You know, Alabama and Michigan might be a little bit low scoring. Texas and Washington has a very good chance to be an absolute shootout in New Orleans, because this is a battle between two great offenses and two great quarterbacks in Quinn Ewers and Michael Penix. We'll start with Texas on the offensive side of the ball, so we'll start talking about Quinn Ewers. The question I have for Texas really is, what can't they do? The Longhorns are absolutely phenomenal, averaging over 36 points per game, over 286 passing yards per game, and 189 rushing yards per game. They are one of the best offenses in the entire country, ranking 9th out of all FBS teams, and the major reason for that is their quarterback, Quinn Ewers, who's thrown for over 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, and his stats could have been even better had he not gotten injured for a few games earlier in the year. He's got a fantastic cast around him, right? Xavier Worthy, 969 yards, was obviously injured. We think he probably will play in the Sugar Bowl as of this video, but obviously his stat is something to monitor here. But Xavier Worthy, one of the top wide receivers, not just in the Big 12, but in the country. Adonai Mitchell, 813 yards, 10 touchdowns, going for his 3rd straight national championship, winning 2 with the Georgia Bulldogs, transferring to Texas, has an opportunity to go play and win his 3rd straight. And then you've got their tight end, Jatavian Sanders, 607 yards. I mean, Texas can do it all, guys. And it's a shame, really, that the Longhorns lost their star running back, Jonathan Brooks, over 1,000 yards on the year. If he was there, my God, this offense would be 10 times better. But they have a capable backup. They have depth at the running back position. C.J. Baxter and Jaden Blue both are very capable of taking on the load left behind from Jonathan Brooks. But ultimately, guys, Texas is a team that wants to sling it. They've got the speed and the size on the outside. They've got one of the better quarterbacks in the entire country. They want to air it out with Quinn Ewers. They've been able to do it all year long, and that was evident throughout the regular season. That was definitely evident in the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma State, and they're hoping they can do the same against the Huskies. Take a look at Washington, though. You talk about Texas. Yeah, Texas wants to throw the ball. Washington does, too. They want to throw the ball with the number 1 passing offense in the country. The best passing attack in the country, over 343 passing yards per game, led by Michael Penix, who has thrown for over 4,200 yards and 33 touchdowns. He has 2 1,000-yard wide receivers at his disposal in Rome Odunze, who has over 1,400 yards, and Jalen Polk, who has right at 1,000 yards. But still, 2 1,000-yard receivers to go along with the best passing attack in the nation. This is a team, guys, too, that I think kind of gets overshadowed on the ground, right? You know, you look at the numbers and you go, Washington only averages 125 rushing yards per game. That's not that great. You watch Washington, you see how much they throw the ball, and you go, they don't want to run the football. And I would disagree with that. The Huskies, despite airing it out so much, and that obviously being what they want to do, that is their strength, the Huskies have a 1,000-yard rusher in Dylan Johnson, who's rushed for over 1,100 yards this season and has averaged 5.5 yards per carry. This is a Washington team, guys, that's rushed for at least 100 yards in each of their last 5 games. So, yes, they want to air it out. Yes, that's their strength. Yes, that's what if it comes down to a very close game, they're going to rely on Michael Penix to deliver, not Dylan Johnson. But this is a Huskies team that is maybe a little bit more balanced than you think, a little bit more well-rounded than you think, especially to the naked eye. So don't disregard Washington's ability to run the football. That is going to be something to watch out for here. If Michael Penix is struggling, or if Washington is trying to set up that pass, Dylan Johnson is more than capable of doing that. The thing is, though, the defense for Texas is outstanding. Defense for Texas is phenomenal and very underrated. Again, with both of these teams, I think the focus is on the quarterbacks. The focus is on Quinn Ewers. It's on Michael Penix. It's on how explosive and talented the offenses are. And you see, Washington and Texas put up, so many points in their games, but you don't focus on the defense. And I've been saying for years, since Steve Sarkisian got there with Pete Kwiatkowski, that the defense for Texas is severely underrated. Look at the Longhorns, guys. They're 24th overall in total defense, 321.7 yards per game. That's all they're giving up. 240 of those, yes, are coming through the air, so the secondary is still a bit of a concern to an extent, but they have the number 2 rushing defense in the nation, giving up just 80.8 rushing yards per game. And, credit to the Texas coaching staff, because after their lone loss of the year, which came in October to Oklahoma, where the Longhorns were torched for 201 rushing yards, they have been a completely different team. Since that Oklahoma loss, the Longhorns have allowed over 100 rushing yards just one time. And that was when they allowed 110 rushing yards to Texas Tech in a 57-7 victory over the Red Raiders. So you allowed over 100 yards. Big whoop, you won by 50. Not a big deal, right? So since that loss, Texas has been a completely different team defensively, especially up front. The Longhorns have 32 sacks on the year. They have forced 23 turnovers on the year. And ultimately, guys, they're going to need a big day from the secondary, because I believe that the Longhorns are going to bottle up the Washington run game. I don't think Washington's going to go out there and rush for $150 on Texas. The Longhorns are going to bottle that up and make Washington one-dimensional. The thing is, that's fine for Washington. Sure, they'd like to have a little bit of balance. They'd like to take a little bit of pressure off of Michael Penix. But if they go, hey, Michael, we've got to have you throw for 50, 55 attempts this game, he's going to be like, all right, gotcha, no worries. Washington is capable of being one-dimensional. Do they want to? No, but they are capable, which is why Texas needs to make sure they do shut down the ground game. You can't just disregard it, but also hope their secondary can come up with a big stop or two against the best passing attack in the entire nation. Take a look at Washington's defense. They are not nearly as good as Texas. They are definitely underrated, undervalued, but they are not as good. The Huskies giving up nearly 400 total yards per game. That's 75 more yards per game than Texas is allowing. They're giving up 263 passing yards per game. That's 123rd in the nation, one of the worst secondaries in the country. But they're only giving up 134 rushing yards per game, which is 40th. So these two defenses kind of have similar stats and similar strengths, right? Washington not giving up tons of rushing yards. Same can be said for Texas. Both secondaries, though, the biggest area of concern. Both secondaries, the weakness, if you want to call it that, for both Texas and Washington. But you take a look, though. I mean, Washington has played some very good quarterbacks over the course of their Pac-12 run this year. Had some good games, had some bad games. Most of the time, though, not the best games. Secondary in the Pac-12 championship game held Oregon and Bo Nix to 239 yards. They outgained the Ducks by 118. So the secondary and the defense did their job in that Pac-12 title game, which ultimately gave Washington this college football playoff berth. They allowed 317 passing yards to Washington State, 267 to a bad Utah offense, 312 to USC, 367 passing yards to Stanford, 337 passing yards to Oregon, and the first time they met back in October, 363 passing yards to California, and the list goes on. They have been torched by quarterbacks and offenses that are nowhere near as good as that of Texas and Quinn Ewers. A Quinn Ewers guy who went 35 for 46 for 452 yards in the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma State. That is about the same statistically as Washington. This team does not create much pressure. 19 sacks on the year for the Huskies. They have forced 16 interceptions, and that's what they're going to need to do. Just like we said for Texas, if the Huskies can go out there and force Quinn Ewers into a mistake or two, even just one that the Huskies are then able to convert off of, winning that turnover battle and converting off of it, they give themselves a fighting chance. But the secondary is going to have to play arguably the best game of the season if they want to beat Texas in New Orleans. Same thing for the Longhorns, though. They're going to have a great day in the secondary, too. Secondary is ultimately the key for this game. Who can stop the other team's quarterback? Who can stop the other team's passing attack? This game, guys, has an opportunity and a chance to be really, really fun. I expect a lot of fireworks. I see potential high-scoring classic. I think we're getting the best of both worlds, right? Michigan, Alabama, relatively low-scoring, strong defenses going at each other. Washington and Texas, two strong offenses going at each other, which means the winner of both those games when they face the national championship has an opportunity to be a clash of styles. It's going to be absolutely perfect. It's going to be great. But who does win this game? Who gets to go to the national championship game, ending a long national title drought for both of these programs? Ultimately, I've got to go with the Texas Longhorns. Give me Texas to win this game and advance to their first national championship since 2009. And look, a lot goes into this, guys. First off, you look at this game, guys. Texas getting almost home field advantage in a way. The game is in New Orleans, which is 511 miles away from Austin, but it's 2,671 miles away for Washington. So Texas significantly closer to New Orleans than that of Washington. Despite Washington being the higher seed, you would expect maybe more Longhorns fans to be in attendance than Husky fans. So it's unfortunate that they get the higher seed, but yet kind of get snubbed in terms of the location of the game. Also, I believe Texas does own that slight defensive advantage. I think their secondary is a little bit better. Their run defense significantly better. I believe they can make Washington one-dimensional. That's not, again, something Washington can handle, but something they do not want to do. Texas is ultimately going to come away with more big plays and more big stops than I think the Huskies will. It's going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. But the Longhorns win this game, get back to the national title for the first time since 2009, where they might have a chance to have a rematch against the team they lost to back in 2009 in Alabama. Will it be Texas and Alabama? Will it be Texas and Michigan? Could it be something else? We don't know. This playoff is about to be an instant classic, guys. A great way to end the 4-team playoff format, but ultimately starting with Texas to get the win in New Orleans. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including that holiday special, those expert picks there for you, giving you every single bowl game spread pick and every NFL playoff game spread pick for one of the lowest prices in the country and guaranteeing some of the best picks in the entire country as well. We beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. We want you to sign up with us today. It's never too early, never too late. Again, the link for it down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.